Hey YouTube, welcome back to Working Hands. My name's Chris. Right behind me I've got Short Fat Fanny. She's a 1959 Biscayne. I've had it for a long time, probably 23 years now. Bought it right after my senior year of high school actually. And other things get in the way and she sits a lot, but been driving it a little bit lately and having a good time, and it's got some power and it goes. Doesn't always want to stop great, so we're going to upgrade the brakes today. Power disc brakes, just on the front, not the back yet. So I'll pick up the camera and give you a little shot of her. She's a little camera shy, and then we'll get started. Might also get in a little sneak peek of another project. Hang on. This is Fanny. It's got a 40 over 350 in it with a 4-speed. The seats have been amateur redone, which is perfect, because this car is never going to be a shiny paint kind of car. I did put some, other than the speedometer, put some aftermarket gauges in there. Got some lighting issue here. This is the, not the original radio. This is one of those plug in your MP3 player kind of deals. Looks original until you turn it on, it lights up. It's a 2-door. Body's a little rough. I'm making an attempt to two-tone it. I think I'm going for white roof and trunk. And I'm going to do one of those hot rod matte finish reds, I think, on the rest of the body. Everything's a little dusty, been doing some sanding on it. I know a lot of you guys run fuel regulators. I don't have a return like Luke recommends, but don't be jealous of my fuel system. I'll try to put a link at the top to my piston video, but I use the same laser on my breather here. Alright, first thing we're going to do is get this wheel off. I got it all jacked up in the air, and got a jack stand under it just for safety purposes. Loud. Okay, you can see I still got the vibration spring on there. These are like original pieces. They actually work pretty well. know what, it really doesn't matter. I'll just take it off with the spindle nut. I can just about break that cotter pin off. Or not. I never had any dust caps for this, and I never ordered any because I always planned to put disc brakes on it. I knew it would all come with that. So, one more thing you procrastinate on. That's nice. You know, for as big of a car as this is, if it ever stops running and I have to push it, it actually pushes pretty easy. So bearings are pretty good at it. Yeah, they don't look bad. That's the inside of it. I can't remember if I had these turned years ago or not. Like I said, owning it this long, I've kind of forgot some of the basic things I did. Okay, so I got the boxes laid out here. This actually only shipped in 3 boxes. The first box had the 2 rotors in it, and that was it. There's another box I don't have in here due to space. It's got pre-bent hard lines in it for the brakes, and then the last box had all of this right here in it, which includes the brake booster, the master cylinder, 2 loaded calipers. Those look like probably brackets for the booster, and then your rubber lines and bearings, and looks like caliper brackets. And I really hope there's some instructions in here, because that's a whole lot of hardware. And I bought it from a place in Minnesota. It's Auto City Classic. You can find them on the internet. And I did a lot of shopping around for a similar kit on eBay or Amazon or anywhere like that for a '59 Chevy. Really, without the power brakes, it ends up being $600 to $700, and some of those included shipping, some didn't. This one, with shipping and taxes, was about $486. I saw some reviews online for the place, and some of the people were not happy with the attitude of customer service. I'm not yet experienced that. I bought several things. They mainly do windshields, and I think they've gotten into gas tanks and stuff for classic cars. So if you're looking for some obscure parts for somewhat common rides, you may want to go check them out. They're pretty fair on their prices. Alright, I got some hardware laid out here. The place is a little light on the instructions. It's going to make me read, and I'm not a big fan of that. I like pictures, drawings, schematics. Anyways, what a pile of parts. So it says remove the backing plate from the spindle. Kind of skipped some steps, I think. I mean, I don't know that I'm a simpleton, but you know, probably could have used a little extra help. So let me grab some brake tools. that out and get some room under it. Or not. There it goes. Spider corpses everywhere. So I think the backing plate is these two bolts. They also bolt to the tie rod steering arm, and then you got this big upper stud. Alright, what do we got here? My neighbor's moving today, and my dogs don't like the sound of the moving trucks, so they're a little riled up. That's tight. Not that tight. Okay. Let's see what size wrench goes on the back. Now, I highly doubt too many of you will be doing the same project, but just in case you're wondering, it's a 5/8 head bolt, an 11/16 head nut. Okay, so got most of the loose stuff scuffed off here with a wire wheel and a drill. Kind of glanced down the instructions while I was sitting here contemplating things and noticed that number 11 on the list is front end alignment must be done because the steering arms have been moved inward 5/16 of an inch on each side. Seems like that would have been something they would have put on the website whenever you're going to purchase the system. But we'll just have to see if we can count some threads and move it in an equal distance until I can find someone competent enough in the area to realign this for me, because the guy that used to be the resident guru retired. So now I'm stuck with whatever we got local. This inner race should pop off pretty easy. Not even gonna hit it hard. There it goes. So these are my two options for brackets. Obviously the big 5/8 hole goes at the top. The thing I'm not sure of is which offset I use for the caliper. I'm gonna say it's this one. I'm gonna have to check into this more. I've got a large spacer here. I don't know if it goes. I think it must go there. Like I said, these instructions are kind of vague. But if I don't put that spacer in and I hold the bracket flat against the top here, there's a gap at the bottom. And I'm fairly certain, because the steering arm bolts to the back side of this caliper bracket and a spacer goes here, this also needs to be straight up and down. So we're going to make plans for that, I think. This bolt was also a little long. Okay, so like I said, I got a spacer up here, and the longer bolt, I believe, goes on the back side. Even when I hold it up there, though, it seems like it's far too long. I'm afraid it's going to hit that lower A-frame. Then, of course, you got the shorter bolt, the spacer here. Still got the jack under the A-frame, so this is how it's going to be sitting on the road. I can't imagine one side needs long bolts and the other side needs short bolts. There's been stranger things. Not the TV show, the, you know, odd happenings. Okay, it's giving me some torque specs, and then it says put all your rotors together with the seals and bearings and all that stuff. So most of y'all seen how to do that on your regular cars. It's pretty much the same thing as replacing your rotors. So I might go ahead and speed through that, and then okay, got it cleaned up, shot some black paint on it. Did run into a couple issues. Not really issues, because these seals are so small. Small as in flimsy and thin. They fit pretty tight in the back of these rotors. And it just took a little bit of persuading without trying to damage them. Also, I didn't realize, I'm not sure how I didn't, these are drilled and slotted rotors. Well, sort of slotted. There's 4 of them. Anyways, hopefully when I hit the brakes it doesn't sound like a tree frog on a glass plate. So, the seal's in, the bearings are greased. I use rubber gloves and coat the heck out of it with grease, and then just kind of clasp my hands around it and force it in. I know they make packers, and I've looked into them. Just not a purchase I've made yet. I've been doing pretty good over the years the way I've been doing it. So I got some grease on the seal. Try to get it on there carefully. that rear bearing is very, very snug on the spindle, which I'm okay with. Just want to make sure I got it seated all the way on there. That's pretty cool looking. Yeah, I'm not sure if either one of my cotter pin holes are going to work with this castle nut. Maybe by the time I get it far enough down to seat it, it'll expose those holes. Okay, we'll go over some of the instructions on this because it says tighten the bolts securely for the caliper bracket. The 5/8 bolt here at the top, it says use a little Loctite on it and torque it to 70 pounds. And then the two 7/16 bolts down at the bottom, 50 pounds, and they have locking nuts. And the thing I noticed was I couldn't tell which side needed the longer bolt. It's actually the front side. The through hole on this steering arm is a little thicker on the front side. Like I said, I'm going to have to try to remember to adjust the toe on this when I get done. Also, this is really cool. I finally decided to read further. If you needed replacement parts, try to get some lighting on here. They've got a list of rotors and bearings and calipers and pads, and it tells you which factory ones fit, and then they even give you the inner seal number from Napa and the brake hose number from Napa. So I mean, that's pretty cool if you had these for a while and you needed to replace some parts, or if you lived in an area where you had a lot of salt and snow and stuff just got destroyed. Okay, yeah, I switched the piston side pad down, switched it around, and put the little squeaker tab down here on the bottom, and it clears the bracket. So I'm going to put a little layer of grease on these bolts because eventually they'll start to rust. I don't like fighting Allen bolts. Okay, I'm going to get this caliper tightened up. Man, these pin bolts are so close to that rotor. Kind of wanting to look around this edge just to see if I'm picking up any grease on it. I'm not seeing anything, but man, it's close. I'm talking like 20 thousandths. I mean, it's in there. So I'll get this tightened up. I may go ahead around to the other side and get all this set up again, and then we'll probably start looking at removing the old master cylinder and getting into the fun stuff. So, we'll be back. I got two big long ones. I assume they go from the proportioning valve over to the passenger side here. The passenger side, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Right there's a T-block. So I've got one line that tees on the driver's side. It comes out of the master cylinder and it goes into that. It comes around to this side and it tees off. One of them goes to the back, and one of them goes to this wheel over here. I think I'm gonna have one line straight for this front wheel and then one line that goes maybe into that T. I might have to block off that third leg that comes to this factory, so we'll just have to see how that goes. But for right now, I'm going to get set up, take the master cylinder off the firewall, and start setting up the power brake booster. Alright, I don't know if you can see this little piece of cable over here. I've got it bound in there with this extra nut. It holds the original 3-speed on the column shift linkage and keeps it from letting the little, I don't know, where you stick the selector at. It keeps it from falling because that's what my tack is mounted into. And I didn't really want to have to reposition it all the time. I'll have to figure out a way to keep that in its place. Didn't think about it. I guess I'm also going to have to rig up a vacuum line to my booster from my carburetor. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little confused. I got this boot, this adjusting rod for the brake booster. I know where this goes, it goes on the pedal, but I'm not really sure why they put the pin in and went ahead and bent it for me. I don't know if the cone sticks out or if it sticks in. I would imagine it sticks in, which means I would have to take this nut all the way off. And like that. I assume that when you push the brakes, this is supposed to collapse inward. That I have no idea though. So there was no instructions with this brake booster. I don't know if they forgot them or if they don't offer instructions. But we'll kind of see what we can do and put it together. Chances are I'll have to take it all back apart anyways. It's usually how things go around here. I'm going to go ahead and get that set up on the brake pedal, and maybe I'll get that boot tucked into place, and then we'll get back on installing this really chubby brake booster. Okay, I thought I'd bring you underneath here. You can see this extension rod here. They gave me two of them and I wasn't sure why. One is just not going to reach anything. So I put two together as tight as I could because it was going to be way too long. And I ended up cutting off this much of the one that screws into this U bracket here. I got the other one tightened up as close as I can to the brake booster, and then the splice between the two is about as tight as I can get it. That's as far as it screws together, and I've still got a fair amount of adjustment left. I don't know if I can see that or not. Okay, on this side here. The other issue I'm running into is, let's see if I can find it with the camera. Okay, so that top hole is where the old one, the rod went. So whenever I try to push this up to it, it kind of puts everything in a bind. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go to the bottom one here. The bottom one's never been used, and it's pretty crowded up. So I've got to clean it up. Plus the pin that they gave me, it almost looks like it's cast. It had pits and stuff in it. So I kind of got it on the belt sander just a little bit, scuffed it up. Once I get this part together, I think I should be done in here. That little cone boot, I think I figured out how it goes. The cone actually goes out towards the booster, and then the outer edge clips inside the firewall. That's not a really good shot. Okay. So, I was going to show bolting this thing on, but I had to take it off, put it back on so many times. I didn't realize I was on my last putting it back on. So, it's on. I'm probably going to end up later on swiveling my tube for my oil dipstick because it's right underneath of it. But that's a minor inconvenience. Alright, let's try it again. I can do it. Man, I hope that don't hit the hood. Figured they would have had my clearances figured out for me. Got a light flashing on my camera here. It may be low memory. Let's see. Alright, so I got the bracket started here for the proportioning valve. Took a look at those hard lines. I think I'm going to have to tweak them just a little bit, maybe to get everything lined up. This is the part where there were absolutely no instructions, and it really would have been helpful because just how they're made. The original one goes, there's a T-block right there, and so you had one line that came out of the original master cylinder, and one side of the T goes to the driver's front, and then the other side goes around and goes across the K-member. driver's side is in and done. I think it's gonna be okay once I get these other two in position, tucked around where they need to be. Clear each other. After lots of fighting and taking some time off, I got my lines all ran. Now I will have to find a way to mount them, tie them up. They're not touching anything, but you're really close to those tie rod ends down there on both sides. And as you can see, I didn't want my master cylinder to rust since it was just natural cast iron, so I went ahead and shot some Rust-Oleum black on there. I did get the brakes bled. I got really good pedal. I haven't started it yet because I don't have the vacuum line hooked up, but I bought this bleeder from Harbor Freight because I had the little hand squeezy one, and that thing would just about wear you out trying to pump fluid through. That one hooks up to your air compressor. Seemed like it did fairly well. Probably the thing I like the most about it is I can go ahead and pop it on the end of the bleeder as long as I'm using a wrench to loosen it, and I don't drip fluid everywhere. Now, I probably still made a mess because I'm just that kind of guy, but so let's see, the lines go up over here. Now, this kit could have been a little more complete, maybe, because there was a T here originally where the line ran around from the single cylinder master cylinder, single reservoir master cylinder, and the T, it had the next size up fitting. I can't remember which one this one is. I think it may be the 3/8 24, and it had the 7/16 hole in the side of it. And I don't know where I laid that at, but anyways, I had to go to an auto parts store. I bought that Union, and it turns out that the Union did not have the internal flare to it. So I kind of made my own thing. I'm not proud of it, but it looks to be holding fluid good. If it leaks, I can change it out later and re-bleed the back brakes. So I'm going to get this camera set up. I'm going to put a fitting in the back of the intake for the vacuum, and hope and pray that this cam has enough vacuum to work the booster. It shouldn't be too bad. The cam's not real, well, it's not too radical. I think it's only like 500 lift. Okay, so in case you couldn't tell by my fuel line, I like to make fittings, and this was just a stainless bushing. I believe it's 3/8 outside NPT by, I think it was 1/8 inch NPT inside, and all I did was drill it out and had some stainless tubing at work because that's what we do, and bent it, soldered it in. This will be interesting. It's already getting snug and I got to go around one more time. I think we might make it though. be just right. Oop. This big ugly floppy piece of hose here, and I may need to put some clamps on there because it is a little oversized. I got to go over my throttle linkage, which you can't see in the video, but I'll get a different angle at this, cut it to length, and get some hose clamps on there. These are not fancy hose clamps. They're just old used ones. We're not worried about that. This is just a rat rod type beater. It's a better fit than I thought it was. So I think after we get this part hooked up, other than, let's see, we got the dust covers for the wheel bearings. We got to put those on, and we've got to put a hose clamp on that first. Well, I just noticed my temp gauge is still unhooked. I gotta hook that up. Mount these lines or zip tie them or something. And then we have to turn the tie rods in that extra 5/16 inch. Let that bracket move them out. No, this didn't come with the set, and yes, I did make it. It's not fancy. It's gonna hold it all in place. This is a number 21 drill, which is 0.159, which is the tap drill for a 1032 thread. Just as a tip, never ever buy a car from a machinist, because we always use Allen head bolts. That ought to keep it solid. I'll move on to the other side. Alright, so this is what we got on our tie rod situation. We got our adjusting sleeve here in the middle. You got one tie rod with a right-handed thread, one tie rod with a left-handed thread. So when you turn this sleeve in the middle, clockwise or counterclockwise, it either brings the two tie rods in, creating a toe-in issue, or it moves them apart, which creates toe out. Okay, so what happened with this kit is we got this bushing right here, and it moves this steering arm off the back of the spindle 5/16 of an inch, along with the caliper bracket. So what we've done here is we know by calculating threads that 2.8 turns is what we need to adjust that 5/16 in, and that is whatever number I came up with based on threads per inch, and then I divided it by 2 because this moves both tie rods at the same time. So this, I marked this for my own recollection, which direction to rotate to pull it in. So I will come to this mark twice, and then up here we have 3/4 of a turn, or pretty close to, and then this is halfway between a full turn and 3/4 of a turn, which would be a decimal equivalent of like 0.875. So if we are going to turn 2.8 turns, if this is 750 and this is 8.75, we're going to finish somewhere right in there. I dropped my screwdriver. Somewhere right about in here, closer to the 750 mark. And that's about as accurate as I can get it without calculating circumference and moving that distance. I will take this, I will do some research and find somebody that can align this locally. Like I said, the old guy that was the hot rod guru, he decided to retire. So now I'm just kind of stuck with whatever alignment place we have local. I got my lines tied in. I made 3 of these. This side over here is okay up top. I can't get to it from there, but over top of the A-frame, it's pretty stable. And then I got another one over here, and then I have one more between the header over there, and I can't see it from here either. On that side, and I'll show you in a little bit. Hindsight, I should have checked, because these lines are actually supposed to turn out this way, but I'm afraid when I turn the wheel it's not going to. That hose seems a little short, so I've got it turned out the side. But what I'm going to have to do is rotate the wheel back and forth once I get my tie rod set. I'll rotate the wheel back and forth. In worst case scenario, I have to loosen this up and then re-bleed the brakes, which is really not that hard with that new bleeder. So let me get the camera set up and we'll try to get eyes on rotating this tie rod situation here. Alright, so I marked just a little past 3/4 turn here. I got my bolts loose. This is all pretty new stuff, so it should turn pretty easy. If you notice these, I have no idea why they dry rotted so bad, but I'm gonna order some new ones, and it shouldn't really affect the alignment, but I will change them before I get it aligned by a professional. So all we're gonna do is rotate this in. We got one turn, 2 turns and our line is disappearing. Oh, anybody see what I did wrong? So we'll go back. My 3/4 mark needs to be down here. And that's what I get for being backwards. So 3/4. It's going to be right on the edge of that split, which is interesting. So halfway between there is about there. So I need to go probably right at the other side of that split. So we'll go around to the far side, and that should be close right there. It'll have to work for now. I don't drive it that often anyways. Try to hold it in one place while I have to get these tight. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the other side the same way, and hopefully I mark my 3/4 turn correctly, and we'll get some wheels back on this, and maybe we'll take it for a test run. All right, here we go. Take that back. It's hard to tell. We'll take it out to the main road, turn around. Traffic down here is not good. Take it back and re-bleed these. I get a little different pedal pressure every time. had to undo a line on the front, and I kind of bled it out, but I was lazy about it. So I think I'm going to call it good for this video. I am going to go back and re-bleed it. As far as this kit, out of 10, I'm going to give it a 5. I had some issues I kind of had to fight. Lack of instruction was probably the biggest one. And the only reason why I'm giving it a 5 is because, like I said, it was a whole lot cheaper than any of the rest of the kits. Things like the dust caps didn't fit. I had to do a little modification on it. They chromed the dust caps, but from what I've been told in the past, chrome doesn't stick to steel unless you put a layer of copper down on top of it, and the chrome will stick to the copper. Well, these clearly had no copper underneath of them, and the one cap, I had to totally clean all the chrome off of it because it just kept flaking really bad. The lines, a little more direction on where the lines were supposed to be probably would have been good too. But overall, I mean, it seems pretty good. It does stop much better. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and if you hit the bell, you'll know when I put up another video. Until then, I hope you and your cars stay tuned.